Good morning, stitching friends. My name is Laura, and this is Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. Now, if you are new, this is a different video from my regular weekly videos. If you're new, I film on Friday mornings to the best of my ability, and if YouTube cooperates, then they get uploaded sometime later on in the day on Friday. Sometimes YouTube doesn't cooperate, and it may not show up until the weekend, but I try my very, very best to keep everything on a regular schedule. But today, I thought I would come with a little extra video to give my thoughts on the summer 2024 Just Cross Stitch magazine. So we're going to do a little bit of a flip through. And I know that I was trying to figure out, I wanted to share this magazine and flip through it, but I wanted to kind of do it Stitching by the Shore style in the sense that for me, I love patterns, but sometimes for my vision, I just like to change colors of fabrics. Maybe I stitch a part of it or do something different than what the model shows. And I think it's just so much fun to be able to use these patterns in such a versatile way that they get stitched even that much more, I think. So I'm going to do this a little bit my style, and so I will give you my thoughts on some of the different pieces. If I was going to change them, what I might do. You may have a completely different idea and opinion on that, and that's perfectly fantastic because we all should have our own kind of creative visions. All right, so let's get started. So that's the front. We're going to get to that piece in a little bit. Alrighty, so our very first one, and I put little notes and I prepared for this. So I'm sure I'll still forget everything even though I did prepare. This first set of two, so there's two here, they're designed by Kate Spiridonova from Cute Embroidery by Kate. And so they are super cute. If I were to look at them real close, I think they are in a very pale, pale blue. And I love that idea. I think I would lean a little bit more into the blue. One of my favorites is Nantucket Sky from Fabrics by Stephanie. But there are a ton of beautiful light blues out there. If you're new, I love blue fabric. And so there's very little that I probably couldn't make a case for stitching on blue. But I think these, especially like an outdoor scene, would be a lot of fun. So that's the first one. So the magazine is kind of set up where we have some garden themed items. We have patriotic, we have summer, and, kind of a whole bunch of different things. So that's kind of cool. All right, so this next one. This next one is designed by Anna Matvieva. I tried my best to try to make sure I could say these properly. Matvieva. It is Anna's last name. And it's Mr. Stitch and Mrs. Needle. And so it's called planting season. Obviously, you have all of these different types of things that you can plant. Now, this is, the directions on here have you actually make that bag. I mean, that is in a world that I never will live in because I don't sew to begin with. And this would be a little bit too much, most definitely for me. They do offer a little like QR code, which you can go to, take a picture of it and it'll take you to a tutorial. And I assume potentially, I don't know if it's the same as what's in the magazine, but they do give you step-by-steps in the magazine. I suppose if you wanted it on a bag, another way to do it would be to do like a waist canvas, I guess. And then you could put it on that way, stitch it through that way. I thought what would be really cute too is these are really cute individuals. So I would break it apart myself. Now you could kind of do like fun, like vegetable picks if you wanted to do like some sort of design and decor element inside. They'd also be cute if you had some sort of trading card theme that you wanted to do. Like maybe it's a food theme or planting or something, you know what I mean? These would also work for that. Individually, if you stitch them with their borders, they're 28 by 35 stitch counts. So they're nice and small and can be used for lots of different things. Obviously, depending on the fabric choice you use, you could make them bigger or smaller. So very versatile pattern. You could do a lot with that one. Okay, moving on. This next one is designed by Kim Beamish, and it's a set of 3. So obviously we have a strawberry. Sweet strawberries is the theme right here. And we have, you know, kind of a jar topper. I think this is a pin cushion. This one kind of like a scissor fob sort of keep. I think this would be really cute, as you could do it as a little ornament. Tiny stitching, or you can do, you know, bigger type of, you know, count of fabric. This could be cute too as like an ornament if you had a summer themed kind of tree, and strawberries, of course, are a good theme for that. I would probably myself, again, either light blue or light green would be my option for either one of these, but those are my go-tos. And I don't know, something like this, is this possible where if you stitch this and you put a lot of cushioning underneath it, you know, so it's kind of like in that idea, could you make it like a little pin cushion that too? Possibly. I'm not sure on that. There are more accomplished stitcher finishers than I am, but I thought that might be a cute idea too. And they do give instructions for the different designs that, you know, if you wanted to, you know, kind of take your hand at any of those. Keeping on with kind of the summer theme, and we're still going with strawberries. This one is called Summer Happiness, and it is designed by Tracy Richards of Wrought Iron Stitching. I think this is super cute. I would myself probably stitch this in a very light green, and very pale, so that way this green, if I was to do the border, would pop a bit more. I also think, you know, the little basket and the house are really cute small elements. So if you wanted to add, you know, if you were adding elements to certain stitches, these are cute little things to keep in mind. I mean, you could always use a cute little house somewhere, and I think that's really cute too, is a nice little small. So again, we can break this apart, or we can keep the whole thing together. Okay, next one. This one is designed by Chrissy Hablett from Handmade with Chrissy, and it is called Home with You, EWE. And I think on this one, I think it's very, very cute on the barn. And if I was to do it on the barn, I'm trying to decide if I would keep it white. That's a good question. I didn't think about that beforehand. I'm not sure. I might go a little starker white so that it would almost match a little bit with the barn a bit more, if I had that. If I was just stitching it on its own, I might go a little bit of a pale color. I'm not sure what. I'd have to do some floss tosses. What I really think is cute, though, these little sheep are adorable. They have two different facial expressions depending on what you wanted. They'd be super cute if you wanted to just stitch that section, or if you wanted to just stitch one of the little lambs themselves, sheep, I should say. They are 34 by 22 inches, or at least, Smiley guy is, because I measured one. I'm sure they're the same. So you could have a nice, cute little small if you wanted as well. Whether it's, you know, again, trading cards, or you wanted a small somewhere, you know, if you're making a little ornament or something, that would be kind of cute too. I really do like the red. Again, so that's a really nice backing, and it pulls out the red here in the word home. Okay, they have a 2-page spread on Nashville Needlework Market as kind of like a review. So if you were interested in reading about that. This next one is called Garden Welcome, and it is designed by Sissy Bailey Smith of Gentle Pursuit Designs. I think it's so pretty. I really do I like the color that was chosen to stitch on it. I think I would lean into the peach even a little bit more, just a tiny bit, just to really bring out the accents of the other parts of different colors. But it's really very pretty, and it's a cute little finish. However, for me, what I might do is I might take the top out and make it a bit more of a rectangular finish. I think that would be kind of cute too. I find something very relaxing about this design, which is they talk about mindful stitching in this magazine, so it's kind of interesting. I don't think this pattern was part of that, but I find it, looking at it, a kind of a very soothing design. I think it's super cute with the top, but I know myself, and I'm pretty sure I probably wouldn't stitch that. What I would do is I'd stitch everything else, and then at the end, if I thought it needed it, I would stitch it. Now this was very interesting. So This is called Inspired Sampler. And it'll be interesting to see if that's what, a section that they have going forward. So this designer, what she did was she took a sampler. So you have that one right there. And that was her inspiration. And she talks about it with the story here. So that's really interesting. You can see from a designer point of view, I'm not reproducing this, but I'm using this as an inspiration. And from there, she got that. So I thought that was really interesting. And that would be a really neat kind of section to kind of take something and be inspired and create something modern with it. So we'll see going forward if that's what they continue to do. This right here is part 2 of the Hummingbird Garden by Carolyn Manning Designs. And so the first month you got the top 3. The second month, the next 3 are in this issue. So in the end, you can, if you want to stitch all 12, you can and come out with this beautiful piece. I could see, whether you stitch them as you go along, or maybe you wait. I mean, you know what they're going to look like. You just need to get the designs, right? But maybe pick your favorite 6 and you can stitch just like that. Or you could do the 6 in this direction, or an 8. I mean, really, you can make any type of, little element piece of how many you want. Now, they do talk about in the magazine, too, that if you don't want to, wait and do all of them, but you have a favorite one, stitch it on itself. And look at this cute little finish that they did. So for the smaller pieces, what I'm going to do is I took pictures with my iPad so that I could really show you in greater detail, because I know it's so hard to show when you're showing this little piece and you're trying to cover up patterns and so on and so forth. So they took this really cool flower outline piece and they put the stitched section inside. And I thought that was a really cool idea. I mean, you could make any type of ornament or anything you wanted with it. If you only wanted to do, if you had one that was your absolute favorite, you could do that as well. So I thought that was really kind of cool and a new way to look at it, because there's 12 different pieces that you now have. If you wanted to do a beautiful, like, little summer sort of tree, because they're all kind of bright and summery colors, you could have your own little display with all 12 of them as singles, which I think would be really kind of pretty as well. Given these colors, I probably would stick to something that was pretty neutral, creamish, neutrally, just to kind of not compete with all of these different colors. But I think that's a lot of fun. And maybe if you pick one, then you can go a little bit crazier with your base fabric, because, now you're just picking out certain colors rather than all of them. This is Chartered and Sullivan's, which is not surprising because it's a stitch along that's sponsored by Sullivan's. I'm sure if you couldn't get them, or, if you wanted to just locally find things, then you could, I'm sure there's online plenty of different places you can find, like, charts from Sullivan's to DMC, for example, if you wanted that. Or pick your own. Have fun with it and kind of pick your own designs. Now this one, it says Seasonal Quilt Series Summer. So this looks like it is a series, a 4-part series for this year, which is kind of cool. And it is designed by Susan Powell of Laurel Susan Studio. I really like the blue that they chose. I thought that was really nice. This one happens to be Glacier by Atomic Ranch. I mean, any light blue I think would be beautiful because it's clearly an outdoor scene. Fair warning, these trees, which are really nicely charted and well done, they are full coverage. So the only thing you're not stitching is where you see the blue. So this one is most definitely a commitment. But it's fun. It's fun with the different colors and parts and pieces. I'm sure if you needed something else, like if you wanted some bathing suits for something, or this little section, you could use those in tiny little pieces elsewhere too if you wanted. That would be fun. Okay, this next one I'm going to show you on the iPad because it is a small piece. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you to see. This is called Fireworks, and it is designed by Julia Rosenberg of, what is it, Cotton Pixels. So isn't that super cute? I do like the blue, surprise, but I think it really goes nicely, especially with the white house. Now, I thought what would be kind of cool if you wanted to make this one a little bit smaller, whether it was for a trading card or you wanted just kind of a little small, what I would do is I'd probably take out the border, I'd bring the flag, I'd cut the flagpole in half and maybe have one of the fireworks there. And you could have a cute little small if you were looking either for a small pillow or a small ornament or any kind of small that you wanted to do, and you didn't want the full piece. I think that would look cute that way too. So you have a couple different options with this one, how you'd want to stitch it. Alrighty, now this next one is designed by Barbie Lowe of Twisted Willow Designs. And this one caught my eye right away. You know I do enjoy full coverage. What I really liked about this, because this is completely full coverage, I really like the faded flag in the background. So I am thinking I would love to start this one. I'm thinking maybe like a July 4th kind of stitching. The one thing I wouldn't stitch, it says Land That I Love. I don't feel the need to backstitch that into it. So I would leave that out and I would just stitch the piece itself. So if you'd like to join me in this one we'll wait till July, so we have plenty of time. But let me know. And it's kind of like the centerfold piece. So it's two, like if you were to look at the magazine this way, it's this and this, and that's the size of the full coverage, the pattern itself. The design size, its stitch count is 140 by 107. So it's not humongous if it was something, but it is completely full coverage, something that, you'd want to make sure you knew ahead of time, just in case. Okay, next one, staying with the patriotic theme. Now we've moved into patriotic, as you can see. We have Carrie Powell of Curious Carrie Designs. And I think this one, there are so many things you can go with this one. I respect her choice of the fabric. That would not be me, but I understand how everything pops and looks really crisp on it. So if that's your kind of design style, I think you can't go wrong using something similar. I myself would probably, depending on what I did with the flowers and colors, I could see doing like a light green, or I would do a floss toss. Now, let's talk about the different things you can do with this. If you didn't want to do the border, I think you would have a really cute kind of rectangle piece right here, which I think would be really, really neat. Now, if you didn't want to use it for just patriotic, or if you're not from the US, right, and you don't really need a US flag, I think you could easily take the flag out, and how cute would this be right here as itself, a spring and or summer piece? I think that would look great. And then, you're looking at whatever your background fabric would be with just these colors. So you could have this out from the start of spring all the way through the end of summer. And I think that would look really neat as well. So there are so many different ways you can go with this one. So it's very versatile, a really great pattern. Now this one was kind of cool, and I could see a couple directions you could go with this one. This is called Patriotic Wave, and it's Elizabeth Jenkins Beatty is how I'm going to pronounce it. Now, isn't that very cool? So there's two main elements to this piece. There's obviously the wave part, and then there's the border part. And they also suggest up top, you could do any color combo you want. I mean, basically, there's only a couple colors in it, right? So that's kind of neat. I think it's just the two, and then in this case, the fabric is the white part of it. Yeah, so it's charted with just a navy blue and a red. So that's kind of neat. You could go in so many directions with it. But I was thinking, how cool would it be? Forget about the border and just do the wave part as maybe like a ornament, not an ornament, excuse me, a bookmark. It would be a bit wide, 10, 20, 30, probably about 45 wide, but depending on the stitch count, and you could go, however long you want on it. But I thought that might be kind of fun. I mean, there's lots of different things you can wrap if you wanted to keep it as a wrap, and you could make, you could do somebody's favorite sports colors, you could do different holiday colors, you could do just somebody's favorite colors, or how about even like a an ombre sort of thing. So you start with this, you know, certain color, like say purple, and then you just slowly bring it down into lighter and lighter shades. I think that would be kind of cool too. So there's lots of different ways you can do this one, lots of different things you can use it for. To really kind of, that makes it where you can just use it for so many things. After that, there is an article about mindful stitching from this designer, and she talks about, you know, mental health and stitching. So that is really interesting, and it's a quick read, and it would be kind of interesting to see that idea of how something crafting wise, for example, stitching, can be very helpful for mental health. Now this one I'm pretty sure I would keep as is. This is Scenic Stop, and it is designed by Ezra Beth, and I'm cross-stitched by, and I'm not, even when I look things up, I don't think I could figure out how to say that properly. So I am not going to attempt to. Scenic Stop is so cute. So it's basically, for the most part, a full coverage. The top part up here is not stitched. It's just kind of a classic beach scene. I think at this point we're kind of moving into kind of summer beachy items. And I would, you know, given that it's full coverage, I would probably stitch it. You could, if you wanted to, do a very pale blue, so you'd have a little bit of sky behind that. But that would really be your choice in that. Going with the beach theme, this is Beach Vibes from Sunny Lofstrom of 3 Tiny Owls. This one reminds me a lot of my On the Beach from Stitchrovia. When I see the umbrella and the beach blanket. But this would be a nice kind of soothing stitch. You know, you feel like there's some big blocks of color. So if you wanted something that was just nice blocks and soothing, and then it's a cute picture. And if you like hoop finishes, I think this is a perfect hoop finish. Then, speaking of different colors and vibes, this is actually a bookmark. It's called Beach Read. It's designed by Allison Peterson of Cozy Cabin Stitching. And I just love the different shades. She goes from the sand up through the water shades, up through maybe like a horizon and the sun either setting or rising, up through, you know, the deepest levels of the sky. I was trying to figure out how you could make a trading card from this. You'd have to cut some things out, and I'm not sure how I would do that. I'd have to think about that. But the design itself is 96 high, 26 wide. And they do give you finishing instructions, and it's kind of cool because they have you using cardstock as a brace behind this, and then you cover with felt from there. So it gives it, you could use cardstock. I bet you could use even like a, you know, very thin matting board, comic book board, anything if you wanted. How there are different levels of cardstock, and there are different levels of thickness and sturdiness of different items. So you could decide how sturdy you wanted the backing to be. But they do give instructions, which is kind of neat. So I thought that was fun. That'd be a fun stitch. And again, too, obviously, some of them, you're with the different things you're going in, but otherwise you've got some fun little single color stitching. Now this one is kind of cool. This one is called Sunny and Glowing, and it's designed by Donna Chavis of Stitch X Love. And the concept of this one, you get 2 designs, and the concept is they're basically reversible. So you almost have like a day and a night kind of pattern. For me, I find that it's easier that I stitch like a deep navy versus the black. So I think that's what I would do on this one if I was to stitch it. And then the sunny one, knowing me, I'd probably do a light blue. This does look like a light-ish blue, you know, kind of, so it's like a daytime scene. So that's kind of a cool idea with the two sides. Alrighty, next. This is the cover piece, and it's called Adventure Awaits, and it is by Jessie Schofield. And it is essentially a full coverage again. I really like the black kind of frame that they use, circular frame. I think that really brings the colors out. if you remember, I'm almost sure Jessie Schofield was the designer of, if you have the Christmas designs ornament issue, there was an ornament of an owl sitting on a tree branch. I'm almost sure this is the same designer on that one. I stitched it for a trading card, but I do want to stitch it again as an ornament for my tree. Or even could hang as a winter kind of ornament as well. So that's pretty. So again, if you like full coverage, there are some options in this magazine for you. Okay, this next one, we've got a couple different pieces that are looking at the mindfulness aspect that they talked about. This one is called Be Mindful, and it is designed by Christy T. Clemente of Christie's Corner Needlework. And so I thought this was a really neat idea. It is stitched and placed on a journal. Now, what's really kind of interesting with this one is that she actually has a mood key. So depending on your mood, you stitch a specific color. And in the design, what she does is she has outlines around all of these to kind of signify each day. You don't backstitch that. It just kind of gives you a guideline. And so each day you stitch your mood. And so everybody's will be slightly different depending on what, what their moods are. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. Now, Christie's Stitch Corner, is it? Christie's Corner Needlework. She's got an Etsy shop. And she has lots of temperature charts. She also has some more mindful stitching. She has like different months, and she calls them mindful stitching, and they are variations of one color and kind of a simple sort of idea kind of thing. And I'm assuming I didn't look at all of the listings, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're all kind of like that, where each section might be what your mood might be. Or you could do something like that even if she hadn't. So I really like that idea, and I really think it's cute as a journal. Obviously, a lot of people recommend journaling for mental health, or just to kind of, get your thoughts out or get them down on paper somewhere. So how cool would this be is if you had this for the month and you stitched your mood and you were journaling inside. I think that's a really great idea. And I could see it staying as the white, especially if you were trying to coordinate with your journal. Or, you know me, I like to stitch bee patterns on a very pale green. It would be pretty on blue, though, too. Okay, this next one. Oh, I need to use my iPad for this because it's a small piece. Alrighty, let's go back. And this one here is called Beehive Assisi, and it is designed by Michelle Garrett of Bendy Stitchy Designs. Now, I had to look up, because it says here, fashioned in the style of Assisi embroidery. And I would have liked, and maybe in other issues, Just Cross Stitch has said this, but I'm a new subscriber to Just Cross Stitch. They had a small section where they could have done a definition somehow of Assisi embroidery. If you're wondering, I did look it up, and it is a background filled with embroidery stitches, and then the main motifs are outlined but not stitched. So you can see how there's the background of stitches, and then we have outlined in, basically backstitch, right? And if you're interested, because when I looked it up, it took me to Wikipedia. Wikipedia actually has a very small sample of a design that you yourself could stitch. It's actually easy enough to read that you could stitch. So if you wanted to try it, first you have Bendy Stitchy's design, which is kind of cool. And then you also have the one from Wikipedia. And I do like this color. I mean, obviously what fabric you choose will give you that vibe, right? With this design, because this is all going to be open, and then you'll have obviously open around the edges. So think about, and in here is all open in the flower as well. So that gives you a chance to really play around with whatever color. She's left it so open for you to, it would be a very fun way to try using other colored fabrics if you are not used to stepping out of that zone of choosing colored fabrics. All right, so this next one here is designed by Michelle Clemente, and it's Just Be You. And I think this is super cute. I really love the fabric. Now, the designer here, she actually has an Etsy shop. It's called we will dye for you. And she hand dyes fabrics. So this is one of her hand dyed fabrics that you can get on her shop. Now, the only change that I would make, I think it's super cute, is I would take this flower out and I would move the word you to be centered underneath the bee. And then if you wanted to, I mean, you could put flowers in other places or take it out altogether. You could use like flower brads or anything like that. So that is the one change. The little bit of off-centeredness kind of messes with my brain a little bit. I don't always need everything symmetrical, but in this case, I would really like it to be symmetrical. So yeah, so they do give a link to the Etsy shop. So if you were interested, for example, in this fabric or looking to see what else she has, that's an option. But I thought that was really cute too. And that would be a fun stitch. I mean, if you take out the flower, I think you're just stitching in black. 310. So, you know, some stitching and some back stitching. What a cute little item this would be. And it is 57 high by 38 wide. So I'm not gonna hide the fact that this would be an adorable trading card. Or you could just do the bee or whatever. So keep an eye out for future themes if you like to do the trading card swaps with me. I know there are other swaps out there, so keep your eye out on themes there because, hey, this might fit in one of those for somebody else that's doing swaps. Okay, this next one right here is designed by Maria of Quaternion Creations, and it is called Sweet Mossy Home. And as soon as I saw this one, my eyes went directly to these elements right here. And so I know you can guess it. I would stitch these. You could either stitch that one and that one by itself. I also think they're super cute together. I think that would be fun. And I would most likely want to take a guess what color fabric. Yep, blue. I would stitch in blue. And then I thought what was also kind of cool, like if you were taking out the idea of, you know, the frog and so on. So you take out the word mossy, home sweet home. That would be an adorable like pillow. And you could choose different colors that you wanted. I mean, obviously, the home sweet home, you've got main color, so you'd pick a color just for that. And then there's just accent colors for the different pieces inside. So that would be a fun way if you want to play around with choosing your own thread colors and so on and so forth, and have a very cute little stand-up or pillow or ornament of some sort. Maybe put it in with some other things that signify something about your home or whatever. I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost at the end. This one is called Water Lilies, and it is designed by Elizabeth Spurlock from Saving Grace Fine Needle Arts. I like this background color quite a bit. This is stitched on linen. Obviously, I would do Ada if I was to stitch it, but I think this color blue is just perfect. So I would go somewhere along those lines. I really like the kind of peaceful look and scene of this one. Not much I would change about that. This next one, so cute. This one is designed by Amanda May of Ardith Designs. And you can see Ardith Designs in this pattern right here. It is just, you know, I have some of her patterns and they're bright and they're bold and they're just so fun to stitch. I really like the fabric that was chosen. You could also go in another way if you wanted to change the vibe and do like, you know, maybe a pink and pull out the colors that way. I think that would be a lot of fun too. Now this was finished as a kind of a, you know, wall hanging of sorts, and they do give you instructions for that. I think this would be really cute. This would be one that would be really cute that you'd stitch, and if you could, again, with like the waist canvas idea, put on a cute little bag, a canvas bag. I think that would be adorable. Or if you had somebody who liked horses, it would be a really fun, again, stand up, or maybe something framed would be fun. And then you can just play around with the background color depending on the vibe you want. So that's a lot of fun. That was called Blossom. And then we have one last stitch, and then I'll talk about one other thing in the magazine. But this one right here, this is called Patriotic Nutcracker, and it is designed by Jenny Barton of JB Cross Stitch. So it is super cute. And you can see right here, it was finished as an ornament on kind of a snow globe element, which is really a great idea. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you could certainly change up your background fabric easily. I think, again, a very, very pale blue would look fantastic on this one. And I think in some ways I might take out the year and I would just stitch this part. And I don't know if I would go as round. Maybe I might do a rectangle with it, or maybe a wide oval. I'd have to look and see. Now, the other thing I thought of, now I don't have the skills to do this, but depending on if you stitch this over two on maybe a bigger fabric, again, take this out. He'd be kind of a cute stand-up, I would think, for those of you who are of that capability. And that might be fun to stand him up in and among your patriotic kind of decorating. So I thought that's kind of fun too. So that was the last one of all of them. And then the very end of the magazine, obviously they give you different ideas about how, different, if you're new to stitching, they give you, how to do stitching and so on. It's the basics. I like how at the end they have the project gallery. I do use this a lot. Like if I'm filming a Flosstube and I need to find a design quickly, I'll go here. It tells me the page. And then if you were looking for some cute freebies, especially summer, if you are thinking about participating in any type of trading card swap that might have a summer theme, hint, hint, this is through, whose is this? This is Sullivan's. They have a site, it's called My Notions something. I think it's mynotions.com. And then if you go to the inspiration section, they have about 35 or so freebies. And these are the 3 summer ones. I was thinking this one would be fun to stitch, and I would play, I wouldn't use Sullivan's, but I would kind of maybe play around with a variegated floss. I think that would be kind of fun to do that. But, so there are a little ad for freebies on the back there. So if you're interested in looking at some of those, they had Halloween and they had some Christmas, and I did a quick look through on them just to see what they had. So that's fun. So that is the magazine. In a nutshell. Well, I'm not sure. That was a very big nutshell. But I hope this was helpful. I hope it was fun. There's several that I would like to stitch on here. I really want to do the Land That I Love. I would like to do the little frog and the mushroom. I think that's adorable. So those are the first 2. I really did like that Garden Welcome, the inspiration, the sampler, kind of modern. I liked the bees. So there's quite a bit in here. So if there's anything that caught your eye, and you were like, Laura, you want to stitch together, reach out to me. And because, I'm always up for another new start. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was helpful. If there's something that I maybe didn't do in the flip through that you thought might be helpful. I'm always looking to try to make things better when I'm doing these. Okay, so that's about it. Until next time, happy stitching.